My name is Susan. Really sad and a really bad experience I had. And it was about my husband, Ronnie. He had Alzheimer's and terminal cancer. The hospital treatment, it wasn't very good for him. There was no interpreter there and no support for his Alzheimer's. So I've asked the Deaf Advice Service if they would explain my story on my behalf, because I'm still too emotional. It happened last April, so I can't really talk about it, but I wanted to share it with you. Hello, my name's Kate Bushen. I'm the supervisor of the Deaf Advice team, which is part of Citizens Advice Sheffield. I'm here today because I want to share an experience about someone who's deaf, one of our clients who's profoundly deaf, and how she's been affected by the coronavirus situation and her experience of what happened. The woman is married to another deaf person, a deaf man. The deaf man, her husband, also has Alzheimer's. They found out that he had cancer, and it was terminal cancer, which means it couldn't be treated. Really sad. His wife and the husband went to hospital, and he had to stay there for 3 days with no visitors. The man was just laid there. The hospital couldn't communicate with him. No communication. All the staff had to wear masks, which meant it was difficult for him to even try and lip read. The staff there, they can't sign to him. So the man was just there, very frightened, couldn't communicate at all, and he couldn't see his family. Same for his wife. She was just so upset and worried because she didn't know what was happening all the time he was there. When the husband came back home after 3 days, the couple were together, and they have got a daughter who doesn't live with them, but she's hearing, she's not deaf herself. She got a phone call one morning from the doctor. One of the consultants at the hospital said, "Are you coming for your appointment this afternoon?" And the daughter said, "I wasn't aware there wasn't an appointment this afternoon." And they said, "Yes, there is, and can you bring your father in and get to this appointment?" So the three of them, the mum, the dad and the daughter, went to the hospital. The deaf woman put a mask on, used hand sanitizer. They all did, and they all went in to talk to the doctor. But the doctor was like, "No way, you're not allowed. We can't accept your wife in this room. We just need you and your father," he said to the daughter. "You're going to have to wait outside." There was no interpreter there, which meant the daughter had to interpret for her father and actually tell him the really bad news that, "Sorry, we can't treat you. There's nothing we can do for you. Your life expectancy is between 2 weeks and 2 months." The deaf man was like, "No, hold on a minute. I want my wife with me now. I want my wife." The doctor was really like, but they did hold out, and eventually the wife was allowed in the room. But the doctor didn't really say anything else, and he just left them. And the three of them were just so upset, obviously upset and really down. Went back home, and 2 weeks later, over those 2 weeks, doctors were coming to see the man. They couldn't communicate either. The doctor was saying, "Best off to hospital, best take him to hospital." The wife just said, "No, there's no way he can go back in hospital. He has to stay at home. We can communicate with him and we can look after him, and that is it." And the doctor did eventually accept that. The man stayed at home. 2 weeks later, really sadly, the man passed away. But at least he was with his family and he was at home and he could communicate with them. A week later, his wife received a letter from the hospital about her husband, and it was saying, "We're going to arrange a phone call to you to talk about your ill health." It was too late, he'd already passed away. And even if he hadn't passed away, how were they going to communicate over the phone when they were both deaf? Why was that not on their medical records to say that they were deaf and they couldn't communicate by phone? This has just really upset his wife, the man's wife. So she's contacted us at the Deaf Advice team by WhatsApp video. We can't have face-to-face because of coronavirus. So it's all by WhatsApp video. And she's told us everything and just about everything that's happened and all the issues she's had to try and deal with and all the other problems. And now her husband's passed away. Her income has changed and it's actually dropped, and she's having to apply for different things and fill in forms to try and get her own income in and to work stuff out. And she can't do any of that face to face. And how, if you're a BSL user, are you supposed to do all of that? Plus, she's obviously upset, really, really down and grieving, and she's isolated because she's now by herself at home. It's really difficult for her. Really, really feel for her. How can she get information? How can she sort things out? How can she communicate with people that can't sign? Luckily, we've got a good relationship with this person. So we phone and we talk to her, and she sends us photographs of letters that have come through, and we're able to look at the letters and get in touch with her and explain what it means. And we're able to fill in forms and phone up organisations on her behalf and services on her behalf. And it's just a little tiny step each time, helping with the funeral arrangements, which was really difficult because they weren't allowed many people there. So that spoilt the funeral arrangements because of corona. And now we're just carrying on working with her. We're sorting out bit by bit by bit advice, because there's so many things to sort out because of what's happened. And she is absolutely heartbroken. She's lost her partner. So we're still in touch with her now, and we're just dealing with an issue at the time. We prioritise what needs to be sorted out. We're just working along things with her and going through things. And we've sorted out quite a few issues. There's still a few left, but quite a few we've managed to help her to sort out and advise her on. It's just such a horrible experience for her because of COVID. COVID has made it worse, yes, of course, but even before COVID, it's very difficult for deaf people to have good communication. Deaf people struggle. They don't get access to health information. Why should that man's daughter have had to be an interpreter for him on that day and tell him straight to his face, you're going to die soon? That's not her role. That's wrong. So we're going to carry on working with this client and encouraging her, and hopefully we'll sort out the issues and things will slowly improve for her. But she wanted me to tell that story. She'll let you know what it's like for a deaf person, because sometimes I think hearing people, we don't really understand, we don't really know. We think, oh, easy, we can phone and do things on the internet. But for deaf people, it's completely different.